Thanks for tuning in to Steel City Football, the 4-1-2. Let's jump right in. Let me explain to you why every Pittsburgh Steeler fan should want Shedeur Sanders to be successful and to be the next Tom Brady. I know that sounds absolutely ridiculous. You're going to say, well, which team are you rooting for? Which team are you covering? Especially since the Pittsburgh Steelers don't really have their quarterback situation under control. But I hope that someday, sooner than later, we will have that Big Ben. So let's jump into Shedeur first. Number one, it makes the league better. It makes the NFL better because it brings excitement to the games. When I say the negative things about Shedeur that I see on tape, it's not because I don't like Shedeur. I am doing a job. I am analyzing his play. It's not personal. Yeah, I don't like some of the things that he does, but my assessment of where he should be drafted and everything else has to do with the all-22 film and nothing else. So let's just say, hypothetically, Shedeur Sanders becomes that guy. He becomes Tom Brady. I want you to picture this. I want you to picture the Pittsburgh Steelers playing the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland at the Dog Pound for the AFC Championship game to go to the Super Bowl. Do you know how exciting that game would be? Do you know the buzz that would be around that game? It would be the hottest. It would be bigger. That game would be bigger than the Super Bowl, than the actual Super Bowl itself. For me, I know it would be. The excitement of that would be amazing. You know, when's the last time you really felt like the Browns had a chance to beat the Steelers? I know you're going to bring up the snow game last year. That's one of the worst games that I've ever watched in my entire life. But everybody, the fans, the media, we all know that the Steelers only lose that game if they show up and crap the bed, and that's exactly what they did. When's the last time you really felt like, oh yeah, the Browns could really beat us, by playing well? Baker Mayfield, I thought Baker Mayfield would turn it around for the Cleveland Browns. We all saw what happened. They bring in Odell Beckham. They don't mesh because Odell and Baker's egos are gigantic. Then Odell's father goes to social media and starts saying that Baker's a racist and that's why he doesn't throw the ball to Odell. And then it just all went downhill from there. He gets injured. He goes to Tampa. Now Tampa is Super Bowl contenders year in and year out. And let's not forget, Baker Mayfield won a playoff game for the Cleveland Browns, and the Cleveland Browns still got rid of him. I mean, the owner of the Browns is just, the decision making by Jim Haslam is horrible. A lot of people still feel that Shedeur was only drafted to sell jerseys and to do Deion Sanders a favor by drafting his son. Because when you look at what happened in Cleveland's draft, they take Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round, and then they take Shedeur in the 5th. I mean, does it make, I don't know. And the worst thing about that whole draft process for the Browns, they actually had a very good draft. Mason Graham, the linebacker from UCLA, they had a good draft, and nobody's even talking about it. But I'm here to cover the Steelers, and I'm here to tell you why I want Shedeur to be successful. Again, the excitement, it makes the division better. When you're a fan and the Steelers play the Ravens and Lamar Jackson's coming to town, you know it's going to be a competitive game. When they play the Bengals with Joe Burrow, now the team isn't good, but with Joe Burrow, the Bengals are in the game every step of the way. The Browns, no matter how bad the Steelers are, it just seems like the Steelers have the Browns number. That we all know it's not really going to be a competitive game, and the mood and the vibe is the Steelers should win the game unless they totally crap the bed and make mistakes. I want the AFC North to be the division of great football. It doesn't mean I want my team to lose. It doesn't mean I want those teams to go to the Super Bowl. I just want those teams to be super competitive and the games to be super interesting. Now, I felt that I'm not a Johnny Manziel guy at all. And you started to feel when Johnny Manziel got drafted by the Browns, the hype, the same kind of hype that Shedeur had, it was there for Johnny Manziel. Then Johnny Manziel realizes, oh my God, my life's in danger. I have to go against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, led by Troy Polamalu, Lawrence Timmons, James Harrison, and it pushes him over the brink, and he goes on a cocaine-fueled binge, never to be heard of again. And I'm not saying Shedeur is going to go there. Shedeur has a lot more mental and physical toughness than Johnny Manziel, but it's the same kind of buzz. Baker Mayfield brought that buzz a little bit, but Shedeur, his buzz is a totally different type of buzz. It's like, I shouldn't even say this to make his head bigger than what it is, but it's like a celebrity, huge, gigantic news machine that comes with Shedeur, an attention machine. And I know that turns a lot of teams off, but let's just say he's that guy. Let's just say he turns into Tom Brady. I think if Shedeur even becomes Kirk Cousins, he has a great career. If he even becomes Geno Smith, he has a great career. But let's just say Shedeur comes in and everybody's like, wow, we are all complete idiots. We messed this thing up. And the Steelers, led by TJ Watt and a super aggressive defense, are in for a battle every time they play the Cleveland Browns. That's what I want to see because I love football. Yes, I love the Steelers, but I love football in general. And it's like the old saying, nobody's bigger than the shield. Nobody. I want Shedeur to go down in history as one of the best quarterbacks ever. I don't really want any of these young guys to fail. I know this is their dream, most of them since they're kids. Some guys are more likable than others, but especially when these younger guys come out from college, when you're an analyst and you're analyzing their play, and I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie for Shedeur or his family like ESPN or just to make everybody else happy or because I'm afraid to be called a racist for telling the truth. I had Shedeur as a 4th-round pick. I felt that he dropped to the 5th round because of the interviews, and I had his brother as a free agent, and that was going back. I was making videos like that during the college football season before the draft was even a blip on the radar. But I need Shedeur to be that guy. Let's go over some stats with the Cleveland Browns. These are pretty interesting stats. The last quarterback to play 10 years or more for the Cleveland Browns was Otto Graham in 1946 to 1955. To say that the Cleveland Browns have been in purgatory quarterback hell is an understatement. The second best guy was Bernie Kosar for 7 years. I thought he was excellent. I remember seeing that Browns game as a kid when they played the Broncos and John Elway goes 99 yards. I think that's one of the greatest football games that I've ever seen. Super exciting. The dog pound full effect, the mud. That's what I want to see Shedeur in a game like that, playing it versus the Steelers. It'll be awesome football. Then they brought in Johnny Manziel, another spoiled, entitled kid from 2014 to 2015. We all know the cocaine. He see the Steelers and totally shit his pants and went on the run doing cocaine and just was on the back of a milk carton for the next 3 years. That's what happens when you see a Steelers defense. Either you can handle the pressure or not. Johnny went on Club Shay Say and said, oh, my quarterback room was mean to me, so I went on a cocaine binge. No, Johnny. You seen the Steelers defense week 1. You knew you had to play them, and you shit in your pants. That's exactly what happened. And we'll wrap it up with Baker Mayfield. And this was a mistake, obviously, by the Browns. They got to be thinking to themselves, why the hell did we get rid of him from 2018 to 2021? Baker Mayfield. The thing with Odell, he gets the shoulder injury. I never thought that Baker got a fair shake in Cleveland. And Baker Mayfield is a Cleveland type of guy. Fine, you don't like his cocky. I want a guy to be competitive. I don't have a problem with Shedeur because he's going like this with a watch to the crowd and making the crowd hate him. I like a villain. I like a guy with confidence. That has nothing to do with it. But when you do stuff like that, and then your play doesn't match stuff like that, and then you can't, and then the Sanders regime is like, oh, it has nothing to do with his play. You're just mad because he's doing the watch sign to the crowd. It's really about racism. It's really about this. No, it's not. You antagonized 50,000, 70,000 college kids with a watch that's more than their parents' house, and you don't think you're going to get a response from them. Like, you ever see college basketball, what the kids do to the other teams? It's the same thing. But now that Shedeur's in the pros, I want him to be the guy. I want him to harass the Steeler crowd. I want him to go at the Steelers. I want him to be that guy. And yes, I want to see TJ Watt sack him 3 times, make him turn it over, throw an interception to Minka Fitzpatrick for a touchdown. My whole point is this. If Shedeur is that guy and he is Tom Brady, it makes the AFC North better, it makes football better, and it makes the games between the Steelers and the Cleveland Browns the place to be, the ticket to buy, and more exciting. Thanks for tuning in to Steel City Football, the 4-1-2.